Hello, it's Scott and Rita. This is, I think, Cosmic Dialogue 55 or 56. We're not sure. We'll find out later. And we're talking about releasing expectations about the book. So, well, through our release of those expectations, we're doing a Cosmic Dialogue. Is that right, Rita?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Yeah. Because we didn't want to do a Cosmic Dialogue. We didn't want to go into the future putting upon the book or any other thing we create what it has to go out and do for us. We're almost feeling our creations with the love and respect of another person. Not almost. That's what we're moving towards.
Yeah, I think I think that like they have their own truth. The things that are created have their own truth and their own trajectory and
Spirit.
There's something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to allow the spirit, and we'll just use the book, What It Means to Serve, as our example here. But it can be applied to everything we create, everything, if somebody's watching, everything they create. And to give it the love and the trust, trusting the creation to be what it's supposed to be in the world.
All right. So should we go into the future and find out what happened?
Okay.
All right. How long from now?
Not long, because everything's just rolling and accelerating.
Good. A year?
If even, maybe April.
April. Okay. All right. That's great. So it's November to April. So 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Okay. All right. This is a little test of being in the future. Okay, we're in the future, 5 months or so, 6 months, without having put any expectations on the book or anything else we created. So what it means to serve, I mean, what a perfect title, to learn these lessons of allowing our creation to serve the purpose it wanted to be created for. And here it is 6 months later, from having just the beginning of understanding that, to really living it with everything. And to treat the book like we would want to be treated by another person. Being given all of the freedom to just do and create in whatever way we feel we are here to create, and to be of service, and to interact with other creations, other spirits, other people. And just allowing that, it was just like an immediate, the world rolled over and turned on its axis into a whole different operational system, at least for us. So what did that event feel like to you?
Well, what it felt like to me throughout this process was that it felt there was this comfort feeling. This comfort feeling, because I can only really measure how I feel. And when I detached myself, and over these past 6 months, when I detached myself from the outcome of the book, what we put through and what we put it out, of course, people still download it. I have no idea if they share things. I mean, of course, people are asking for a print book, and so we're working on that. But of course, the idea of knowing that something is out there doing its work without us even having to worry about it created a lot of freedom for me. And yeah, it's like this whole new operating system, because I feel like my whole body tingles a different way now. Just knowing that there was something released out there that's doing work that, I'll send it off places like camps and workshops and things like that. And then there's the download, but there's like it sometimes finds its way secretly into the hands of people that you didn't expect. And it's just now this wonder of discovery. Like, I never thought that this book could actually go here. And then someone reads it there and passes it along, and then passes it along. And yeah, it's like this marketing plan of discovery. You don't have to measure the success the same way. The success is just that this exists, and like you said, this whole new operating system, this whole new way of being. And it's, if we can realize that something like this kind of like has its own life, then I wake up in the morning just kind of wondering. It's not about measurement. I just wake up in the morning wondering. And a few days, I remember getting emails and some feedback. I had no idea that we're gonna even show up, and then that just feeds that wondering. There's something out there, and that. It's I feel lighter about it now, 6 months now. And so as seasons change, and you've gotten more comfortable, channeling, and so there are other books coming. We know that, we can feel that, and we're in process. So it's an easier process because we're going through that already with this book. So, but yeah, it's the connection with the tingling and the healing and the choices that when I was kind of an experimental channeler for our audience, it's that's kind of the feeling I have sometimes daily, knowing that this is out there.
Yeah. It's a trust of the spirit of the thing that we allowed to come into being. It's not even, I don't even feel like it's my creation. It's just, I was just the conduit, the initial conduit, and then you picked it up and took it even further. And so you were an additional conduit, and to trust that as a real thing, and to know that I'm trying to say something about knowing things will change, and the allowance of that, and the faith involved, until you experience it so many times that you know that I don't know if I'm making sense, but that it's I have this paper here, but it's so much more than that. It will change and grow and turn into different things for different people, and have an impact to create more change. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And one person wrote me once saying this would make a really good narration play, one act for a show I'm doing. Things like that happen. And, a narrator talking about Rita's feelings, and then the audience speaking. So it was things like that happened. We had no idea.
Yeah.
And So sometimes we get feedback back like that, or even people have ideas for it, and we feel like, okay, whether that idea comes to fruition, it's like we're learning to this idea of what we see here on Earth. And I've been saying this for the last 6 months. What we see on Earth is just a mere shadow of the inner workings of whatever is happening interdimensionally. It's like we're just a crop circle in the 3D land. And so why would we want to reduce our measure of success on just what we can see as far as like sales and downloads and measurements and feedback and how many Google reviews and things like that? No, the whole universe doesn't work like that. So why would we want to apply those things that are just the shadow on the 2D plane, the shadow of something bigger? We're going to measure the shadow of that on something that's really created beautifully. Why would we want to do that when we can really just set things free and actually discover and experience that wonder of not only what's working now, but what's working in the future and what's working in those planes that we can't see?
And who of us would have thought to market it to kindergarten classes? We had kindergarten teachers pick it up and start modeling their classroom on the concepts of this book, because they really are so simple that actually children understand the book better than adults, and are willing to jump right on because they can feel the whole the cyclical part of serving, and they get it immediately.
And the kindergartners liked your circles, and so they create colored circles.
Right.
You're like, I want to color a circle. That was the biggest, boom. Oh, that's really cool. I want to color one.
Yeah, I see you. I'm going to make you on this paper here. Because they get it. They feel the colors and the energy coming out of other people.
Yeah, it's and couples worked on that too. I see you, and so if I were to see you, that was a little tougher with adults, I think, but the kindergartners got it. Oh my gosh, I see you. I'm in a color. Here you are.
Yeah.
You know, and then they got to feel their feelings. Why am I green and not blue? I think I'm blue, and no, you're green.
Today you're green.
Oh, and then
Feel
something.
your greenness.
They're like, I'm green. You know, they got to feel that. So it's those are the lessons that we're like, we had no idea this could happen.
Right.
And if we would have like planned it out, that never would have happened.
Right.
So,
and then the couples, for adults, especially in relationship, they really had to get courageous. And there were a few who were willing to do that. Some sort of like, well, what else have we got to lose? Let's give it a go.
Yeah, we're teetering on the precipice anyway, so we may as well draw circles.
Or read this book and attempt to actually serve each other and ourselves and the relationship.
And to say there's no hurry.
And I don't need anything. Well, I don't need anything from you. Am I sure about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
wait a minute, honey. I thought you didn't need anything from me.
But it is interesting to see like those couples that really got it, who worked with each other, who kind of approached it as a child of like, oh, you see me that way. Thank you. You know, it was that gratitude of you see me like that.
Right. And I don't need anything from you. Wow, that means I have quite a lot of ability in my own self to do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, and but it also challenged a few people. You don't need anything from me, so I'm useless to you, and that was totally not the case.
Right.
So, but it got people to feel those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just, sometimes it's just like, we just like step back
Yeah.
and let this energetically do the work. Um,
And quite frankly, we're so busy with so many other things just constantly coming through that it's perfectly fine to step back and just let it be whatever it's going to be and trust it to do what it's trust it to do correctly whatever it needs to do.
yeah, I think we've also moved beyond this misuse thing. At least I have. I do believe that we do need to like foster these things and not throw them into the black hole of, just splatting them everywhere. That's like a little bit of a misuse because it just is. But the ideas of misuse is like people can get the book and not read it until it's their time. And that, who are we to say that that's a misuse? But they actually read it 6 months later and like, I've had this on my desktop and I haven't read it for 6 months, but I opened it somehow and now it's the perfect time for me to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So that letting go of those, we still had to work through our own expectations too, which was perfect for the book to do that for us.
Right.
Um, so even if somebody takes a long time to read it, or they just have the artwork right there, maybe on their desktop, and it's just like reminding them, I'm still here, still on your computer. You still printed me out. I'm still in that notebook. Oh, you're moving things around. There, here I am. So it's kind of that whole thing. There have been instances like that. So, and when people have read them at the time they needed to read them, they were kind of grateful.
Yeah. And right. And some of it was releasing our concern for people who maybe did open it up and dismiss it or assume they already knew it and didn't bother to finish it. And knowing that it was going to keep nudging them, knowing how the reminders get bigger and bigger each time. So we had to release our concern for the lessons that other people are just, that's just what they're choosing. So that's fine.
We had to release our concern for people's judgments of the book or reactions to the book, or whether they liked it or not, or if they give us a review, or we had to just release all of that too and
Mm-hmm.
realize that this is an organic life form, kind of like a being, kind of like a child that just has come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you send off a kid to school, um, yeah, we have all these things as people that we attach to, and so, and I still read this book as much as I can. So I have a situation in my life, I'm flipping through it, and I like think, oh, I didn't read that the same way I read this now.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we're still learning that those things for it too, which I think is beautiful. So
I swear it changes. It changes between readings. It like keeps track of where I am and then and then updates itself somehow, even though the words are the same.
yeah, it's that I find that same. I found that earlier on, and I still find that.
Mm-hmm.
So that it changes. Well, it hits our mind this different ways, and it hits our consciousness different ways, and so I don't know if it's something between the words or the words, but it does. It feels like they change,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I've never read this before, but yet I have.
Yeah. I've read these words, but the meaning is different now.
Yeah. So it's oh, 6 months, we know a lot more, but we know less.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfect.
Yeah, we know how much more there is to learn.
Yeah. And we hope that I'll say that I hope that that's what other people get out of it. If they don't, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I hope that's what they get out of it. I, I, I hope that eventually we are all kind of a big tribe of folks who experiment. And that's what I hope that, um, as this work continues, that's what comes out. And so even when I talk to people, that's what I say about it, just my hopes. And I courageously throw my hopes into it. I say hopes because like I don't want them to be expectations. So,
Well, instead of asking people, hey, how are you doing today? I've started asking people, what kind of experiments do you have going on now? And that's actually kind of caught on. And so it becomes a really interesting conversation instead of just small talk.
yeah, yeah. I should start doing that. Like, I should start saying, "What are you dreaming about?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should start doing that. That would be fun. So, and now I'm thinking of the concept of like, here I am 6 months in the future telling myself that I should start doing something like that later. So, what kind of ripple does that affect the universe? Knowing that there's an 8D force that just puts a shadow of us down here. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we started living with an awareness of that E8 and letting it be instead of, well, talk about the shadow. The shadow is such a catchphrase meaning that people feel they have to dive into. Talk about not living from your shadow when you're aware of your E8 existence and everything that can the multi dimensions that can happen in that sphere.
And so we also realized their book is just that pages, three-dimensional or sometimes two-dimensional projection of whatever is in the interdimensional E8 plane. And yeah, when you treat it like that, that we only see a little bit. We only see the pit that allows itself to be projected here.
And that's the cool thing is you don't have to understand it. You just have to allow that it is. And then off it goes.
Yeah. And then when there's an opportunity for it to be projected somewhere else through an experience or an experiment, then you see that part. That new little crop circle in our 3D world
Mm-hmm.
that still comes from the same place. And you're like, wow, I never knew our book could create that kind of a.
Yeah.
Yeah, crop circle is just the metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sounds so much more fun and exciting than a marketing plan.
Yes. And now we get to like have that, that third hand gets to market. That whole, um, and there's not even words,
Right.
even though they are words on a page
Mm-hmm.
that change, that hit us differently.
Right.
Great.
I just opened it up and read that is the true meaning of service. So there it is.
There it is. Awesome.
Continue changing yourself until you are able to understand and embody your own unique gifts and express them in a way which serves love.
And that's a continual process.
Right.
And that's beautiful.
And there's your marketing plan.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's a peek 6 months in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.